And now it's time to play everybody's favorite game.
Good news. Good news.
We are jumping that combination. Jesus Christ. We can't run.
We're on right now. I don't believe you. I'm kidding, of course. Hello and welcome. Welcome to the circus, mother. I almost cursed. See, what I've learned about doing this, especially on YouTube, is if you give it 2 to 5 minutes, you can let the let's fly. Hi, guys. Do you remember me? No? Probably not. My name is Oren Lamena. It's written right here at the bottom somewhere over here. You might remember me from such shows as The Night Guys with D-Mac and Oren. No? Still not ringing a bell? I thought I held some weight around here. Hold up. Maybe I'll bring this back. Does this jog your memory?
If you're jumping in late and you're hearing all the reaction, it's because of a phone call that came from Oren in Denver earlier in the day. Remember, Oren in Denver was responding to Jeff in Richmond, who called him an epileptic and called him boring in Denver.
I took exception to that.
And as I look back, I don't think he really said anything more than that, but that was enough to get Oren going, and it sounded like this.
I had a couple people talking to me, and discretion is supposed
God,
to be
I
the
sound
better
so much
part of
younger.
valor, but this isn't one of those times. Jethro in Richmond, I get to focus my attention on you, bro. I don't know what mixture of hay and raccoon drop-ins you've been toking on in that corncob pipe of yours, but it must be the chronic because you plumb flipped your lid, homie. You mean to tell me you hopped in that horse and buggy you call a sled, took 3 days rations and motored all the way into town from that shanty you call a crib in the middle of that swamp you call a suburb to get your jungle
Life took?
Listen closely, Huckfin. I might have got myself run before I got a chance to finish jumping off of Joey and New Chowderford's John Bagley like Boiler, punching on him and then hanging my nether regions on his chin like LeBron did Delonte West, but you will not be so lucky there, Forrest, because I'm going to make sure I get through this call, similar to the way your lady or your second cousin isn't leaving the local juke joint until the last swig of moonshine is gone out of that triple X mug she calls a shot glass. I promise you, Jebediah, by the time I'm done with you, you're going to wish you stayed on the porch, sipping mint juleps, strumming in a
I was
bacon on
talking that
cone,
shit. I had to
fitted
speed
with
it up.
bands that you call a banjo, trying to listen to Romy over the sound of all 18 of your youngins fighting over who Pappy's going to whittle a pair of shoes for next. I hope that you and your wife Clementine enjoyed that 5-course smorgasbord of roadkill possum with all the fixings under that kerosene lantern hanging from the ceiling by that wire hanger you call a chandelier last night. Because right now, you are getting your manhood Clint might not be able to look at you the same way after this. And we all know what that means for you, Jeff. It's back to sleeping in the chicken coop, listening to the Soggy Bottom Boys on that phonograph and playing Spin the Bottle with the Sheep. Stay in your lane, you hillbilly. You might be the king of the trailer park in the town of Deliverance, but to me, you're just a hick hopped up on cheap meth and corn pone who made the tragic mistake of bringing a raccoon club to a gunfight.
I stuttered there,
Trust me,
admittedly.
look elsewhere to regain those stripes that Kerwin snatched off that genuine Army-issued jacket that you so promptly cut the sleeves off of 5 minutes after.
This is my favorite part, by the
for
way.
2 bits from the local pick and save. Ain't nothing for you this side of the Mason-Dixon line except hard times,
hurt feelings, and a dose of smack.
Wish that Ma didn't choose her brother to be the pater familias of her only retarded son named Jeff in Richmond. And I hope you holler back, hillbilly, because I need the reps for the sack off. Just make sure that you turn the crank enough times on that there telephone of yourn, because the last call you made sounded like it was breaking up a bit. Somebody please call the Jungle Police. Tell them to bring white chalk and yellow tape, because I am verbally murdering this inbred. That's right, Jeff. Jeff, you're a hillbilly and an inbred, and I got nothing to hide.
So come on over, officers. Yeah, come on over. Does that ring any bells now?
Incredible. Listen closely, Huck Finn. Stay in your lane, hillbilly. Cornwallis?
Cornwallis? Who has Cornwallis references?
Orin in Denver.
Orin in Denver, that's who. Now, do you remember? Hi, guys. How's it going? It's been so long. I missed you. I hope you missed me as well. Let me explain to you what this here circus is going to be. First of all, shout out to KU with Truth, KUWT, taking over things in the sports talk all over the interwebs world. Of course, the owner and proprietor, the progenitor of this wonderful platform, Darren McKee, also known affectionately to all of us as D-Mac, my partner, my first radio partner. He put a call out. What's crazy is I had a dream. Okay, no, that's not how that happened. I was cleaning up my YouTube channel, and for one reason or another, I was taking stuff down from my time. I was just taking stuff. I was copywriting stuff that was lingering around on the internet, and I somehow made it to the KU with Truth channel, and I saw a very heartwarming video by my brother about his time leaving the fan, however you want to describe it. We've all been there. Leaving the fan and striking out on his home, getting the job with Altitude, and then starting this up. And somebody called and had asked him about the Night Guys and I'm watching this and I'm like, oh, it was because I hold D-Mac very close to my heart. He's my brother. And it was so weird because a week later, after I saw it might not even have been a full 7 days, he called me and basically, put up the bat signal, said, we're getting the band back together. And I said, yeah, brother. Why wouldn't I? So, good news travel fast. Promises to be more of what you've heard from me before, which is I usually spin records. I love to have a good time. And I talk fast. I'm trying my best. I know it's the internet, but I'm trying my best. I'm going to do a good job of not completely tossing curse words around while we're on here. Can't promise anything. So anyway, good news travel fast. Go over to the YouTube page. Follow me on all platforms at Good News Travels Fast. You'll find it. Travel, not travels. Travel. So what are we doing tonight, though? Tonight we are kicking this thing off the best way we know how. Nuggets tip-off, of course.
Yeah, we missed it too. It feels a little different this year, doesn't it? New faces, new looks, but the same mission. To bring that championship feeling back to the Mile High. So let me ask you another question. Why not us? Why not be the team who rises to the occasion? When we hit that court, there's no one I would rather go to war with than family.
Together, 1, 2, 3, together.
And guess what? I've got good news. Mile High Basketball?
It's time for Mile High Basketball.
Yeah, we back.
Let's go!
Wow. Wow. How does that not get your juices flowing? I'm telling you right now, okay, before we do anything else. Now that's all the excitement leading up to tip off in 49 minutes. And you see the countdown right there. 49 minutes, 8 seconds. But that does not come without remembering, at least for me, how last season ended. So let's roll that one next.
An offensive rebound here.
Conley will slither inside. Oh my goodness, Towns! Karl Anthony Towns! Murray has it. He'll fire up a prayer. That's it. The Timberwolves have knocked out the defending champion Denver Nuggets. They are advancing to the Western Conference Finals for the first time in 20 years.
That one hurt. That one hurt. We'd been to the mountaintop. We tasted championship glory, only to have it ripped from our hands by Big Ant, who's a man. Ant 5 is the man. Karl Anthony Towns and the Minnesota T-Pups. That sucked. So leaving that experience, going into the offseason, losing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, there were a lot of question marks coming into this season as to how this team would rebound from that from that falling short in order to make another run at it. And we're going to talk about some of that today before kickoff. We're going to try and fit all that in, and then we're going to kick over to Altitude After Dark, I believe. So without further ado, let's get into it. This Nuggets preview. I think the best place to start is a little bit of what I just touched on, which is off-season moves. I know these things have been talked about. I haven't got a chance to chop it up with y'all about it. So I feel like it would be most appropriate for you to give me my thoughts. First of all, the acquisition of Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook. Right. I had a problem with Russ initially just as a player. It was the attitude. It was the bravado. And I love confidence. But it's just that, not the mama, just, sort of pouty face that he always displayed that I really just couldn't get behind. But there was something about his time in OKC after KD left that I started to really appreciate his game. Of course, triple-double God, even though he was padding stats that season that he won the crown for triple doubles. He was padding stats. But never mind that. He really did, I think, sort of show me different parts, maybe things that I wasn't seeing because you're looking from afar. So I think the addition of Russ to this lineup, especially since he's willing to come off the bench, that has the potential of replacing what we thought we might not be able to replace when we lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, which is a guy who brings a different skill set. Russ is a perimeter defender that's capable. And I think we throw that around a lot, like, great defenders. How many great perimeter defenders are there really in the game? I don't think that was the point. I think that having him to kick the bench into a different gear is super important. Super important only because of what you lost off the bench. We lost Brown 1 year before, and now we're looking to see if young guys like Julian Strawther can step in and really provide a boost, a much needed boost, because of something that we'll talk about later when it comes to Mike Malone and his rotation. But Russ got a chance to introduce himself to us. I know that we have some sound X, so let's get to that. I'll give you my thoughts on that, and then we'll just keep going with some other moves that were made to the roster.
Can you experience how long does that take? Like the family part of it, getting everybody settled in.
You know what? This is the first time I had to do this, and man, it's been a while. I haven't lived and been by myself in a long time, of like, you know, taking stuff out, moving all the stuff in the cabinets and doing all this stuff. So I'm like half doing it because my wife is on FaceTime telling me exactly what to do. So I'm like half doing it, and then when she gets tired of me, she hangs up, and then I kind of figure out the rest. So it's been great. I actually really been enjoying like just the whole, you know, cleaning up and doing the whole thing. So I enjoy that process. I'm excited now to get home to unpack and do a bunch of other shit. So.
I love Russ. I can't lie. I don't know. I mean, obviously now he's one of our guys. And wait, I do have to clear something up. Somebody just texted me and they were like, "When you I thought you was on the Golden State train, boss." Listen, we had a split. We had a breakup. You know, like any relationship, it takes two. It takes two to put things back together. And I did, for a time, take my fandom talents to the Bay Area. My favorite player was there. I made no bones about it. I left when Andre Iguodala left. We ended up in the same place, side by side with my favorite player. And I always told you, talking to the specific person, that I get to decide when I come back. I was not the one who broke things, and I alone can fix it. I decided to come back long before, as soon as it was apparent. These are the Yusef Nurkic days, mind you, when he was still on the roster. The Joker, I seen it then that Joker was going to be that guy. I started making my way back. So I don't got time for all of that. We only have a short amount of time during this stream. Although, just to let y'all know, I will be streaming during the game over on Good News Travels Fast. If you go over to the YouTube channel, you'll see it. I'm just going to be doing a ride along during the game. Nothing. Then I'll be back here to do some post game thoughts. We'll be back. I bet 5 minutes left in the game and do some post game thoughts. So there's that. All right. So roll that other sound about Russ and playing with Joker. What he thinks is going to.
I do know it's early days, but what's the best part about being Nikola Jokic's teammate?
Just selfishness. I think that's a trait that I think a lot of people may know, but being able to see it daily, it's great just for the best player in the world to be like that. Everybody else don't have no choice but to get in line. So
that's huge. You're talking about a triple-double guy speaking on a triple-double guy. And if the Nuggets have any value proposition in this new makeup, it's to involve more guys. Now, I don't know if they have all the horses that they need. And I saw a couple of people offering up some low-budget roster additions that might make some sense to sort of spread it around, spread the love a little bit, because I love the pick and roll. I love it. I love the pick and roll when, you know, Jamal and Joker are doing their thing. But to be quite honest with you, I think we saw the shortcomings in that being the only go-to in crunch time against the T-Wolves. A lot of pressure on Jamal, I don't think is a good thing. And after watching the offseason that he had, you know, and Mike Malone also, we have some sound about him speaking. Don't roll it yet, but we have some sound about him speaking about just what a grueling what a grind the offseason was. And maybe that could speak to some of the struggles that we saw Jamal having. And I'm hoping so, because I'm going to be honest with y'all. I love Jamal. He proved it in the bubble that he's capable of being that guy. But we know who the straw is that stirs this drink. It's Joker. And there's times when I've just questioned. It's those 18-second into the shot clock dribble exhibition, toss up a shot instances when I question whether or not Jamal actually understands what's going on. And I think that it has stunted MPJ's growth. And I think it just bogs down the offense. So having a guy like Russ, veteran, respected, accomplished, not a champion, so he's got a fire. He got a fire not in belly, you know. He's got a fire in his belly. And I think that in the locker room, combined with the style of play, he is a tenacious just defender. He's not the best, but Russ is going to defend his position. I've always questioned people who said he's a sieve, or who have offered up that he's not that good of a defender. Let me tell you something. Bruce Bowen, there are only a few really lock-up guys in the history of the NBA, Michael Jordan being one of them, that you could say, Kobe Bryant was one of them, that you could say like, oh yeah, that's the guy who Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was a very willing defender, and that's what you want out of anybody. So I think that the addition of Russ, I think that could really, 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 really spark this team to a different level, even than what we saw in the championship here, because of his ability to push the pace and do so with hopefully a bench that sees the opportunities that open up once you really just have a guy who's concerned with playing hard and doing that, and hopefully they emulate that. So that to me, I'll make the loss of Kentavious to Orlando and the gain of Russ, to me, is an upgrade. No, he's not a starter, but it is an upgrade. Okay, let's talk about Sarge. Wait, do we have any other Russ down? Was there anything else? He'll play.
How about facing OKC? Just where you started your career and have had so many.
I've already faced him a couple times now, so more than a couple. So no difference. I'm still friendly with staff and front office people there. So always a mutual level of respect, and since day one.
But because you're
Southern California guy who spent a long time. I used to always be like, how does that work? What's it like? I mean, listen, I respect what OKC has been able to build. Just Oklahoma. Oklahoma. OKLAHOM. No, thank you. But he made it work. And that's where he cemented his profile as, an NBA. I think he's a Hall of Famer when all is said and done. Obviously, the triple doubles will do that, but maybe not first ballot. And he's got a fond relationship with those lovely burpers down in OKC, and I don't have a problem with that. Dario Saric, let's get to it. I watched this guy and this is where it starts to fall apart on me. And I think that when we heard the rumblings about Calvin Booth and maybe the front office and Mike Malone not really seeing eye to eye on certain things, many of us as Nuggets fans were hoping that this offseason would be one that had a Westbrook-like splash to it, but maybe just a little more. You feel me? And I don't know. How do you guys feel about it? Did you get that out of it? I didn't really get the splash. I don't know. I don't know what I wanted, but I wanted more than what I saw. And I definitely wanted to see more than Saric added. I think that when it's all said and done, what are we talking about? A guy averages 8 points a game, 4 rebounds a game, used to the style of play. I mean, he definitely, in his time with Golden State, at least, got used to a little pacier game. To me, he's a stiff. And this is always going to be a problem for me, is how do you get adequate minutes for Joker on the bench? How do you get adequate minutes at the center position when Joker's on the bench? That remains to be seen. And is Dario Saric capable? Of course. He's tall. He's tall. I don't know if you guys knew that, but he is tall. And he's seasoned. But personally, I think that it's still going to leave something to be desired. And I've never really understood why, like when we saw that get hype sound off the top, I've never really understood. I like DeAndre Jordan as a get everybody pumped up. You see him, he's constantly talking to everybody on the bench. He seems to be that type of glue guy, but why he is, I think, ineffectually still, I think in his career, he's got gas in the tank. And I just don't think that DeAndre is used enough. And hopefully having Russ again will kick those utilization numbers up for DeAndre. Because if Dario Saric is the answer, I'm saying, and what's the question? If you feel me, like, I'm not to take anything away from, I'm just being honest. I'm just keeping it a buck. You know what I mean? I hope we're not expecting I kill you with truth, is what I was told. Was the title of this platform. This is my truth. We're living in the days of individual truth. There's not just truth, there's my truth. Right? You have your truth, and I have my truth. Here's my truth. Dario Saric, welcome to Denver. Welcome to the squad. Wish you nothing but the best. But if that's the answer at backup center this year, this is a team that I think will still find those struggles, because it was wearing Joker out. And I know Joker is deceptively fit. He's deceptively fit. But I think we saw in the Minnesota series, we saw the Nuggets run out of gas. And that has a lot to do, and we'll get to that in a minute. I don't want to go there yet. That has a lot to do with Mike Malone's rotation and his lack of trust in people on his bench. Now, I don't know, maybe there weren't guys that he felt could get it out of other guys. You know, in back-to-back years, you lost some real key cogs, obviously, from the championship run. But you cannot run these guys, especially when they're now 2 postseasons in, at least 2 very long runs in the postseason. We saw, I think, some of the effects on Jamal, or maybe Jamal just taking some time to sort of pace himself, at least during the Olympics. He's looked pretty bad. Everybody's been talking about it. It's all the rage. You cannot wear these cats out. You cannot beat your starting lineup into the ground. So again, expanding the bench and getting useful minutes out of them. And again, that's not to say that Dario Saric isn't serviceable. He, in my opinion, just isn't much more than serviceable. And to keep Joker fresh for the playoffs, for a deep run into the playoffs, I think we need more than serviceable. You need 11 minutes, 12 minutes a night out of your backup center when called upon, or at least a combination. The steps backwards I think that Zeke Naji has taken are attributed to this particular subject matter, which is, I don't know what y'all think about Zeke. I think that he has often shown just these flashes. But if you're not given the opportunity to get on the floor and work things out, it'll only be flashes. You need playing time. And that is a message strictly to Mike Malone. You're just going to have to, don't believe me. Here, do this, X. Go to Steve Kerr, what we have lined up about Steve Kerr. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Believe Steve.
You went to 11 guys in the first 9 minutes and then 12 by the first 13. Is that deep and that quickly of a rotation? Is that kind of what you're looking to do and sustain that?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to do it. I've never played 12 before, but we're going to do it. So it's not easy, but it's not easy on anybody. But we just have to trust that from one night to the next, we're going to find guys and combinations that really work. And the guys have to understand that some nights their night, some nights not, and that's okay as long as we continue to play together and play hard. I think it's going to be a really fun team to watch for our fans. They play both sides of the ball, and a lot of good energy, and they like each other. The ball moves, and it's fun to watch them play tonight.
Now, I want you guys to take a look at this, which is truly a roster that says you might as well try to go 11, 12 deep because you got a bunch of undersized guys. Buddy Hield added to the. By the way, Buddy Hield. Hold on, I want to show y'all something. You want to see a guy talk like Buddy? You hear Buddy Hield's name, and it's like, oh yeah, Buddy Hield, right? But have you ever heard Buddy Hield speak? I was shocked.
Like the depth and pace that you guys played at had. I mean, it looked like Portland started to wear down. Did you feel that? What kind of effect does playing that fast for 12 guys have?
I mean, you just got a wave of guys just coming in. You have your starting group that's very elite.
What?
You got Loon, Lindy, Moody. You got so much guys that can filling the roles, for other guys, and they played the basketball the right way. And I think Steve did a great job just preaching unselfishness and sacrifice, and because the 1-2-12 can play. And even the guys on the two-way, they're knowing the system all summer, and they probably running better than us because they way to move the ball. And ball moving killed. So I think hats off to Steve and his coaching staff just implying the right things and preaching the right things, and us buying in and sacrificing.
He definitely talks like a buddy. I'm sorry. He just talks like a buddy. No, buddy's my buddy. But Moses Moody, Gary Payton second, Wiggins. They've got a lot of guys, and they're trying to figure out. Now the Nuggets are a championship. We're a championship squad, and the depth chart doesn't. I don't think the depth chart looks nearly as deep when you're talking about just guys that can go get it and hoop. Jalen Pickett. Let me be honest with y'all. What would you say you do here? But to his credit, Kanchar's credit, Hunter Tyson, and I'll say Zeke Naji. They all fall into that Nuggets young guy who pretty much we've never gotten to see a chance for them to really step up and step into a role of meaningful use because of the way that Mike Malone runs his ship. And listen, he gets paid the big bucks. Peyton Watson, I think, will continue to take steps forward. We've seen nothing but growth out of Peyton Watson, although I do need to see like a monumental leap offensively. Christian Braun got a lot of usage out of him, obviously, in the championship run and last year. Without Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, hoping that he would be the guy that he's seasoned enough. You just don't see enough out of that jumper. Now, I'm going to say something that might offend some of my more melanin-challenged listeners right now. But I just figured, white guy, Kansas. Shouldn't you have a jumper? You're not supposed to, is it too soon? Is it? I hope, it's a joke. I hope that over the offseason, a real area of focus for Christian Braun has been that jump shot. Judging by how things went in the preseason, it doesn't look like it's taken hold yet. But it's early. It's early. There's no reason to let he who is out without sin cast the first stone. Yes, 27 minutes to tip off. Ooh, are you pumped? Anyway, so there's that. There's all of those things to speak of. Now, what we lost, I think, was an opportunity to pull off what Steve Kerr is trying to do when Deron Holmes went down. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. We can get to it on other streams. Man, that was such an opportunity to add a big man who I think could have came in and contributed early and often because of his skill set. And all these things are to say. Let me go single shot and just. Where's Mike Malone? Bring it in, Mike. Now I know that the formula is to win 50 plus, so you can secure 1 through 3 seed, making the road to the NBA Finals a little less tougher a road to hoe. And I, as never having coached an NBA team, admittedly, defer to you and your expertise and your staff when it comes to running your ship. But for the love of God, please, see if you can get some usable minutes out of guys like Zeke Naji this year. You're going to need it. The starters are going to need it. And that is all I will say about that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time tearing Jamal apart for the offseason, for the Olympics. Jamal has done his stuff. He's done his numbers. And I think that we have grown. I'm trying to be careful. Not to be too, what am I trying to say? Too reactive, too overreactive to Jamal's struggles. Because Jamal is good at what he does. It pisses me off to no end. I don't know how y'all feel about it, but I really hate the dribble exhibitions. The one thing that we saw out of Julian Strawther, here, I'll show y'all. The one thing, my homeboy, a friend of mine, asked a question. I'll just try and get to this real quick. He asked a question about what is it that you notice about Julian Strawther's game? I won't mention the guy because I don't know. Are we having pod wars? Are we having, like platform wars? Maybe I shouldn't mention them. It was a great question, nonetheless. And I thought more than anything, it was exemplary of what I'm talking about when it comes to Jamal Murray and his game. Again, I don't want to cast aspersions on a guy who I think by now has made a good case for himself to be an NBA All-Star. And I know Jamal plays he plays with a chip on his shoulder. I think because of some of the nods that he hasn't gotten. And then there was the I love Ant 5. When they asked him about, Jamal last year in the playoffs, and he's like, pfft. It's kind of like, I think that a lot of people have looked at Jamal and sort of have those questions. But yeah, we'll get to MPJ too. I think I got about 20 minutes. We got time. Okay. Every Julian Strawther bucket. I think this is a great example. The question was, every Julian Strawther bucket from preseason sorted by type. What stands out? Let me turn this down. And as you watch this tape, it's pretty noticeable off top. Julian Strawther makes quick decisions when he gets the ball, and it's a scorer's mentality, which both have. Jamal has a scorer's mentality. Julian has a scorer's mentality. But it's just how you go about it, right? There's only 24 seconds on the clock, son. And if dribble is the only way you can get into your offense, what it ends up doing, I think, is stagnating the rest of the offense. So that's just my take on Jamal Murray. And hopefully it's something that he has to be himself. Jamal's got to be himself. But hopefully it's something that they've talked about, they've game planned. If you're tired, just do a little less. Trust your teammates. And that is a recipe for success always, because sharing the ball is a basketball staple for success. It just is. Defenses don't have time to first of all, defenses can't set up on you. Number one, look how quick Julian is with his decision making. Defenses just can't set up on you. Number one. Number two, your teammates don't fall into that category of glorified fan with the best seat in the house watching you go between your legs for 19 seconds. You feel me? And I think that that's just something that, listen, I'll be surprised, quite honestly, with the way that Julian has performed. I'll be surprised if Christian Braun is able to hold that starting spot. Maybe not strictly performance-based, but I think the way that the West is shaping up, it's going to be an arms race. It's going to be an arms race. Clay in Dallas, you think Phoenix might really figure it out. They're the last big three left in the NBA. I just think that you're going to have to be very mindful about your ability to score. And if you're going to only play a certain amount of players, then you need your best offensive guys out there, because no one's going to confuse Christian Braun with just a defensive stopper. He's an active, willing defender. But he's definitely depleted in the scoring side. He can slash, get to the basket, all those things. But if you ain't got no jumper, you're not a dual threat. If you're not a dual threat, I just don't think that it bodes well for the Nuggets gelling early and playing with lineups and tinkering with guys. There's no better time to do it than in the beginning. So I'm hoping tonight that we see a lot of that. I'm hoping tonight that we see a lot of, tinkering with combinations and things that work. And we've heard, I know that there was some sound that Joker had a couple days ago about that being sort of a focus in practice. So hopefully that bears itself out during the season. Let's get to MPJ. First of all, I don't think there's a lot that needs to be said about Aaron Gordon. Congratulations to Aaron Gordon. Well deserved. And the fact that they got that thing worked out and done, you can tell AG likes Denver. You can tell he likes the town for, I'm quite sure, many reasons. You can tell he likes the town. I'll leave it there. And he's been good to us. We've been good to him. I'm so glad that they got that worked out, because now you have your core together for the next 4 years. I believe they'll have that core together 3-4 seasons. And that's something that you can build around. That's something that you can really go into as Nuggets fans. I think that's something that we can all look at and go, okay, we've got some assurances. And the pieces, those are 4 really good pieces. Although I will say, if there's anyone that's expendable and you could get a lot of trade value for him, just throwing this out here early. I know it's too early for, talking trades. I'm not stirring any pots. If there's anybody that can get you something in return, because it's not going to be MPJ with that contract. I think it's Jamal. Okay, I'll move on. I'm not going to just move on. Keep going. We got 18 more minutes until kickoff, and I got to be off in 13. All right, so let's talk about Michael Porter Jr. real quick. I think that this is, quite honestly, he's the deciding factor. Early returns are that he is, and when you watch this little highlight reel, because again, my buddy asked, every MPJ bucket from the preseason sorted by type, what stands out to you? My response to this was, he's making it a concerted effort to play inside the arc. And if he does that, he changes the complexion of this team completely. I love his jump shot. Everybody comments on his jump shot. Michael Porter Jr. has the most beautiful jump shot I've ever seen in my life. Okay, cool. That's dope. He's usually trying to crank that some bitch from way beyond the arc. Problem I have with that is you're 6'10". You're 6'10", you're athletic, maybe not really skilled with the ball handling, but enough to get to the basket. If you ever notice, I've noticed it. Have you ever noticed? He gets a lot of balls picked from him when driving because he's not really switching hands too tough, keeps the ball by his hip. They know where the ball is going to be. And I've seen that on more than one occasion getting to the rim. And I think that sometimes deterred him from making a concerted effort to go to the basket off the dribble. He's great diving to the basket. Him and AG have that, sixth sense between the two of them, that thing that they got going on. But if he does more of this, if he's doing more of that, he's just more of a threat from deep, right? Because if they know you'll put it on the floor and they know that you're going to use all 6 feet, 10 inches to get to the basket and get a good shot, well, now you're a pump fake away from putting it on the floor and going to the basket or rising and firing. And that, if he becomes the type of player he's supposed to be, I'm not saying Nuggets in 5, but I like our chances. He is the linchpin to either great success or, damn, that's a big contract. How are you going to? Because he's just a glorified jump shooter at 6'10", and quite honestly, not a dime a dozen, but if he plays normal, that's just normal, and you're not going to get any value for him ever, in terms of trying to move him along to bring something else in. What are your thoughts on that? What, who do you think, if you were to rank the players that you need to see, that if they are most improved on the Nuggets roster, you see the Nuggets making another championship run? How would you rank them? For me, I'd say MPJ 1. It's most, okay, I'll go from least important to most important. Christian Braun, I would say least important. Least important that he has it, because I think we've seen basically all that he can be. There is a step forward that he can take, but I think we've seen it. I think we've seen what lies in store in the Christian Braun era, and it's nothing but but upside. But it's that sixth man off the bench type upside. I think so. Then that would make number 2 for me Julian Strawther. I think if Julian Strawther continues to show flashes of brilliance and an aggressiveness and quick decision making with the ball in his hands, I think that's one of those, like, damn, that's a great draft pick. And it's almost like you get a draft pick again, because he wasn't effective last year because you didn't get to see a lot of them. And I get it, Mike. I get it. You're the guy. I'm not the guy. I'm just a guy. But you know what I'm saying? But number 1, I would say, is MPJ. And I think everybody agrees with that, right? I think everybody, and I think that this might have been much of the conversation. Not to leave P. Watt out. I love P. Watt. P. Watt and Christian kind of fall into the same vein with me. With P. Watt, he gets a lot of minutes. I would love to see expansion in his game. I would love to see that game expand into somebody that can be trusted on the floor in key minutes, and not just defensively. I'm talking about offensively. And you're young, so I'm always of the opinion that these guys, we're not going to get a chance to get to a story about yet another Bronco. We're not going to get a chance to get to it, so I'm not calling for it. But yet another Bronco who, boy, Denver, while I'm no longer living there, somebody needs to pull these young guys to the side and just be like, maybe not shotgun willies. Anyway, where was I? P. Watt, young, got it. My train of thought: work on your game is all there is to do for young professional athletes. If you play gym for a living, and that's what they do, you do gym for a living. So if you do gym for a living, most of your time should be spent doing gym, getting better in the gym. I know I saw P. Watt up in Boulder, I'm pretty sure, when the Phoenix Suns were in town for that preseason game a week ago or whatever, 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure I saw P. Watt on the sideline, and I know KD and guys get together, they all hang out. That's cool. Taking no shots at P. Watt. I'm just saying I'd like to see the game go forward. Michael Porter Jr. to me has all-star ability and has yet to cross over that threshold. He's yet to really make that statement. For me, we've all seen flashes of brilliance. I know he's been part of a championship squad. I'm not discounting any of that. What I'm looking at is how things finished last year against OKC. And if I'm not mistaken, let me see if I got time. Michael Porter Jr. in that series, just go to the numbers. At the end of the day, you just go to the numbers. I don't need to say what your numbers will tell us. So in that series, 7 points in game 7, 8 points in game. You see where I'm going with this? 6 points in 4 points in game. 21 points. 9 points. 20 points. I think that solely lies in this column right here. Because jump starting your game, like if you go 1 for 6 from 3 and you were 3 or 12 from the field, well, if you just shave 3 of those attempts off of here, put those 3 attempts over here inside the arc, so a little less here, a little more here. Jack them up when you're feeling it. Jack them up. But how is the best way? Anybody who's hooped or had a coach worth a damn told you that you warm up not from out there. You start in and move out. You start in and you move out. You walk over, but you limp back. You start on the end. Hold on. You start in, you move out. And I think that jump starting his game will depend on his ability to recognize moment and timing and maybe this isn't the time to, run into a pull-up. Maybe this is the time to take that to the rack and five slam a jammer that some bitch. You feel me? I thought it was funny. I came with my own laughter because you guys might not give me what I need. I brought my own laughter. I brought my own open. I brought my own applause. I don't need y'all for nothing.
Way to go. Neato, gang. Yes, boy. Oh. Yeah.
It's like, I have a phone number, by the way, 330-271-0234. As we go through this circus, I love big, round conversations. I love talking to the peoples. So I will always invite you to tell me, Orrin, you're a moron. I don't appreciate it. I don't appreciate being called a moron. But if you see things different than I see them, and you might be harsh in that critique, and you say, Orrin, I'm okay with that. Now, if something comes back your way, just understand. You walk over, but you limp back. You feel me? It's just sports. We'll just consider us, we're just guys in a bar, down in beers, talking trash, talking junk until somebody gets a little out of line and says something about somebody else's wife or their weight, and then something gets flung across the bar and people are grabbing each. I'm kidding. As long as you keep it respectful, and I'm even talking about the insults. As long as you keep it, I could take it. I'm a grown-ass man. There's nothing that you're going to say to me that's going to keep me up at night. Well, there are a couple things that you can say. I'm really, really looking forward to combining forces with the Key with Truth platform. I would go into previewing OKC, but let's save that for another time. The hope is that as much as I respect Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and what they're building down in OKC, Lou Dort, I mean, they come, Chet Holmgren, they come equipped. Please believe it. And they weren't the first seed in the West last year. Oops. Sorry. They weren't first seed in the West last year for nothing. I don't give a damn. I want a Nuggets win to open up the season just to make me feel good, make Nuggets Nation feel good. And then we can talk about the prospects of what their roster looks like. But I don't care about that. Now I just want to talk to y'all with the little time that I have left. I am so appreciative of my good friend, Darren McKee, D-Mac, making the call, inviting me to his platform. It really, really, really means a lot to me to be able to work with somebody that I respect. I learned everything that I know about what I'm doing right now. I'm being honest with you. It's not me kissing ass. I'm telling the truth. I wish I had some sad music. I promised myself I wasn't going to cry. I learned everything that I know about broadcasting effectively, sitting with that dude. And so when he made the call, I was like, nigga, what?
Way to go. Neato, gang. Yes, boy. Oh.
Yeah. It was a no-brainer. And from what I've seen, the community that's building over here is much the same. So, I mean, let's just have some fun. Let's bang out. Let's rock out with our, you know what? You feel me? You know what I'm talking about? I think X, if I'm not mistaken, hold on. I might have been premature ejaculating right there. That's almost my time because Altitude After Dark starts in roughly 2 minutes. So I just want to again reiterate. Good news, travel fast, Orrin Lamena. Follow me on all platforms. That's on X. That's on Facebook. That's on YouTube. Good news, travel, no S, fast. It's going to be a circus. And while I will focus my attentions on our locals, I like to talk about the world, y'all. So I don't need no sticks in the mud telling me, Broncos. Oh, yeah, good luck to the Avs tonight. The Avs are dropping the puck tonight soon, or if they're not already underway. So good luck to the Avs tonight. I might venture in and out of the world of sports, but I'm always going to keep it fun. This is more like satire with a dash of sports in it. That's how I like to look at it. It works for me. I hope it works for you. For the whole entire Good News Travel Fast staff, which is me, basically, Let's go, Nuggets. Start the season off right. Let's get in. Hey!
And now it's time to play everybody's favorite game.
We are jumping that combination. Jesus Christ. We can't run.